All right, welcome to, Season 3, Episode 1 of our Rambo 3 coverage of It's a Long Road, the Rambo series podcast. I'm your host, as always. With me today, we have a very special guest host. We have Nikki from the podcast, Beat the Cult. Nikki, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ryan, for having me.
It's my pleasure. I listened to your, it's newly launched, I guess you could say. Is this your first time podcasting in general?
Yes, it is. This is my first attempt at podcasting.
Well, you have a knack for it. You have a great voice for it. A great listening ear, too, might I say. I've listened to your show and your guests that you have on. And when you had Arden Hart on, your episode 3, your listening skills are very good. Mine are terrible, so I will I'll try to be better. I talk a lot. But,
no problem.
You have a great ear, a very empathetic ear, I can tell.
Oh, good. Thank you. I try to show some empathy and try to be perceptive and listen to what my guests have to say. I'm glad that I'm getting good feedback.
Well, it's from me. I don't know. The comments on your YouTube channel also indicate good feedback. Keep doing what you're doing. We're going to talk about what your podcast is about. It's unique, and it definitely doesn't apply to everybody. And this is, I'll say this because it's about being an atheist, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's about being an atheist, which here in the United States is still taboo and carries a negative stigma. So I'm trying to, right now, put a voice for atheists out there. Eventually, I'd like to work on getting more theists on the channel because I want to get into debate and philosophical discussion. But right now, just getting started off, it's mostly atheists, but I'm thinking of probably adding a second aspect to the channel where I just do theist interviews specifically.
Theists that are religious, correct?
Yes, more than likely. I mean, they don't identify as theists, quote unquote, but Christian apologists specifically.
Okay. Yeah, well, religion is tricky. You're doing something that's, I would say controversial is the right word. You're in muddy waters, as they say. You're mixing,
Absolutely.
I'm just doing a stupid Rambo podcast. The worst thing I'll get mixed up in is people that might not like Rambo. Maybe I should get like a non-Rambo, an atheist Rambo. Yeah,
Schwarzenegger fans.
Schwarzenegger fan will come on. I'll tell you about Commando versus Rambo.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm not going to invite myself onto your show, but
you're welcome.
I was religious growing up, very much so, and very orthodox.
Same.
I don't want to spoil your journey too much on your show because people should listen to, you do share your story and who you are and where you came from on this. But yeah. I think you and I were both, I was religious too growing up. Then I became atheist because once I stopped believing the way I believed, I became atheist, which you're right, it has a connotation. I'm even afraid to say it sometimes because I'm...
Same.
Right, people are like, what? You believe in nothing? Then why aren't you just killing and murdering people? I'm like, okay, slow down. Like,
right.
Like that's
ridiculous.
I love how it's only religion that stops me from being a moral person. Maybe
exactly.
Maybe my morality is just based on the fact that I want to be a good person, and I'm not looking for reward, but I'd also appreciate if I don't go to hell forever. Like that'd be nice too. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, according to Jordan Peterson, the only true atheist is one who behaves as Dostoevsky's character did, who has no moral compass whatsoever and just decides once God doesn't exist, he has free range to kill and do whatever he feels. That's obviously not true. As Homo sapiens, we know how to exist in a cohesive society without religion, and we've done it up to this point. Well, up to about 2,000 years ago, concerning organized monotheistic religion. But yeah.
Okay, so look, you're using all these words I don't understand. What did you just say? No, I'm so good. You have a very smart podcast. Me speak dumb. Me talk about Rambo.
No, I love Rambo. No worries.
Well, good. I think it's a very fascinating discussion. Again, I know you're tackling waters that are difficult or dangerous or even maybe offensive to people. My response to that is, I have a different belief system no matter, like I'm not offended if somebody's Christian or Muslim or Baptist or whatever. That doesn't actually offend me. It doesn't bother me at all to the degree of if someone says, I believe in God, I'm like, that's cool. At the end of the day, and I know you end your podcast the same way, like just don't be a dick is what you say.
Right, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I totally agree. Like Rambo. And I'm in the military myself, actually. I will fight.
Oh.
Yeah, well,
cool.
I'm just in the Navy. I'm nobody. But, I mean...
No, that's not true. You still protect... thank you for your service. I know even in Canada, but you also help keep us safe as well.
We're your tripwire. We're your tripwire. If somebody attacks Canada, the U.S. will be on high alert. Oh,
well,
boy.
no. Right? We'll still probably take a while to get involved, though. But,
yeah, those stupid Canadians. What have they done for us? But that being said,
we're neighbors.
I will fight for your freedom to be religious. I believe everyone should have that freedom. I don't want to live in a nation where my way or the highway. So
agreed.
The market of free discussion, it needs to always exist.
Agreed. I agree.
Okay. Yeah. And I hope you get some theists on your show.
Yeah,
able to have that healthy discussion, and you're ready to do that public debating. Too brave for me. I would not debate anything. I can't do that. I'm terrible at it.
It's very challenging. It's definitely not like having a conversation with your mother. I'll tell you that. It's not the same. My mom doesn't bring up Aquinas and Aristotle and all of that unnecessary shit. She just talks about her religious views, and it's very different.
And it's tough with family. I have family that listen to this podcast who are still in that religious upbringing that I was raised in, and they love me and I love them, and everything's kosher. Like, I'm lucky. Unfortunately, it's not always the case when somebody leaves their faith of their family. There can be some hurt feelings or sadness, and I just want I want my family to be happy, and I want them to be happy. I really do. I just want everyone to be happy. Yeah. Okay.
Same.
Can I just say, and this is for our listeners, those who see your lovely face on YouTube, I don't have to say this, but we have listeners, and I will say you're my first. I think you're my second. I kind of cheated. I have a Rocky podcast, and my co-host on that show is a female.
Oh,
and so
lovely.
Yeah, but you're my first true guest co-host that I never worked with before on the Rambo podcast, because she came on a guest that was Katie. She's lovely, she's like my weekly or bi-weekly co-host on the Rocky show. But for the Rambo one, great. I've had rotating guest hosts, and the majority of them have all been, let's be honest, male, and they've all been white males. Okay, well, let's just be honest. Now, you're unique. Can I just say this? You're female, and may I say, you're a lovely black woman. And
thank you.
When somebody reached out to me to reach out to you saying that you're a Sly fan, I saw your profile picture. I'm like, really? Oh, cool. Because I know it sounds silly, but yeah, of course there's black Sly fans, but not very many that are atheists, lesbian, and black. So tell me your story.
Yeah, a woman. Lesbian, yeah.
I guess I'm a lesbian.
Lesbian, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a lesbian. I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body myself. So
that's funny.
How did this happen? What's going on? I mean, was this a normal upbringing for yours, or did you find him later in life, or?
No, actually, my father is a very huge Sly fan.
Okay.
I was raised on Rocky. We would sit down every once in a while and watch the Rocky movies. The first one that I saw was actually Rocky IV. Yeah. That one's my favorite, probably because of that, and also I like the challenge that he puts himself through, which I learned more about later in life. But I always kind of saw him as just kind of like Schwarzenegger, like he's just an old school actor. You know, my dad loves him. He had Rocky and Rambo on VHS, and I tried to watch the Rambo movies, but I didn't have interest as a child.
I hope you've watched it by now, because we're about to talk a little bit about Rambo 3.
I have watched Rambo 3 how many times over the past year or so? Probably about 10 or 15 times over the past. Yeah. So I have been going through kind of a weight loss journey. I used to be like 345 pounds, but I've lost a lot. Yes. And most of that kind of, comes from hard work. I didn't get any bariatric surgery. It was just a change of lifestyle and implementing exercise habits that I really haven't had since high school.
What's the big thing you cut out? Let our listeners know, what was a big thing you cut out?
Sugar.
Yeah, sugar. I was going to say sugar.
Bread.
Sugar bread, man. Like, it's sort of like keto. That's what keto is. But at the end of the day, sugar is just, all it does is turn into fat. Your body doesn't need it.
Yeah, it doesn't. The only sugars you really need is like from fruits, or any type of residual sugars, and maybe a sweet potato or a carrot. You really don't need to be eating processed sugar.
Yeah, no one got fat from eating an apple.
No. You can eat a whole bushel of apples and not every day and not get fat.
Yeah.
But just seeing how much hard work actually goes into losing weight, exercising.
Good for you. And
yeah, like September, I remember the day, ironically, it was like September 11th last year. Something just struck me to watch Rocky IV. Oh, I know what it was. I went to I went to a boxing gym, because I've always wanted to get into boxing, and went to this gym, and I wasn't quite in shape enough. I never went back. It inspired me to watch Rocky IV. Okay. I was watching it and watching him just do all of these really intense physical activities like the logs and the pulling the sled and running up the mountain. And I'm realizing that this person is doing all of this while concurrently directing and writing and all of these things. And I'm like, this person's pretty impressive, because it's very hard to just act in a movie, period. So I was like, who is this person? And well, like with my recent, my recent efforts in losing weight and how exhausting it is, and how I'd start building up my exercise regimen and realizing that it's hard for me to just do a workout in my home, let alone do all of that while directing a movie and writing it and all of that. So, and choreographing the boxing scenes as well. As you know, he did that. And
he does all the.
He works very hard.
He's awesome.
He's insane.
And I heard
he's terrifying.
One of your podcast episodes, you talked about Sly there at the end, and you said that you would go straight for him. Like there's a part of you that's
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I would absolutely go straight.
I go gay for Sly, so it goes both ways, right?
I know, right? Actually, as like macho and crazy as my dad is, I'm almost positive he would also go gay for Sly.
Yeah, like the Rocky IV Sly when he's doing those leg lifts into stomach muscles, and I'm just like, oh, it's not fair. I mean, it's fair because
it's very torturous.
Yeah.
He works hard. His workout regimen, just learning about his story and how he obtained, I guess, the physical deformity, how that happened and where he was born and his family's social status and the abuse and the alcoholism. I came to learn this later. His daughters have a podcast called the Unwaxed Podcast. Yes. And they had him on and they were asking him about his story. And he said his parents left him at a nursing home at age 5 and how he's been in between foster care homes. He said he'd been in 13 foster care homes. Just seeing where he is, it takes a very mentally fortified person to not only be a successful, well-adjusted adult coming from his background, but to achieve the level of success that he has, to be as disciplined and precise and meticulous as he is. And I was listening to a lot of his interviews, and he has a lot of insight and a lot of wisdom. He's very intelligent. He's very articulate. His vocabulary is ridiculous. He's just a very impressive person. He's very impressive.
Wow,
yeah, he's impressive.
Your fandom
So
is
he
real.
inspired me. Yeah, it really is. He inspired me while simultaneously making me question a few things about my sexuality.
Well,
I can't even lie. It was
that's okay. We're on we're on a bit of a spectrum, maybe. I don't know. I know some men refuse to even say that. No, I think there's more of a spectrum in our soul a little bit. I mean.
Oh, yes.
But I'm a married man anyway, so whatever. Don't tell my wife I said that, but...
I won't tell her.
No, thank you. And I also want to say about that, I also listen to a conservative podcast, too. I always like to listen to different... Not voices.
You gotta balance it.
Yeah, I've listened to some, even some of the whatever left or right side, or podcast is a good podcast. I want to hear a good discussion. So I do
exactly.
I do listen to some conservative talk, absolutely, because there's some conservative values I still hold from my upbringing. Well, you like Sly, you love Sly, you've watched,
Sly,
and you love the Rambo films, which is good. And you've seen Rambo 3, you said 10 times last year.
I kind of went through, kind of embarrassingly enough, a bit of a kind of an obsessive phase where I was watching all of his movies. I went through all of his movies. I think the only one I haven't seen is Victory.
It's a good one. It's fun. I think it's worth investigating. I think you should watch it.
I do need to watch it.
It's interesting to always seeing the young Sly that is in the Rocky Rambo movies. It's not a great film. There's a lot of flaws in the film. But at the end of the day, if you want to see Sly in those early 80s type films, it's a unique film. He plays a goalie, terrible soccer player. But it's just funny to watch Sly pretend he's good at soccer, because in the film, I love Sly, but his ego is pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
His ego, he did say back, especially in the mid-'80s, he was quite an asshole.
Well, just like that, he's grown and he's matured. I think
he has. Yeah. He has matured a lot. And I watched everything. Oscar to Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, which he continuously says he hates. And I'm 2 weeks behind on Tulsa King, but that's the last thing I've seen.
Yeah, you mentioned that you weren't too... So I was a little surprised by that. Are you downplaying a little bit? You mentioned you weren't that crazy. I mean, you love Sly in it, but you're not digging the show in general? Is it the characters, the storyline, or...
It's a little corny. Kind of like Samaritan was very corny, but he's Sylvester Stallone.
So you haven't seen episode 5 yet. Have you seen episode 5? And episode 6 just came out at the time it was recorded, but episode 5 would have been about a week and a half ago.
No, I need to get caught up. I'm behind 2 episodes.
Okay, yes, you've seen the first 4 probably. So when you see episode 5, send me a message because at the end scene, you're gonna see. Does
he kill someone?
I'm not gonna. Well, I won't say, but he does some badassery on somebody where you're like, holy smokers! It's,
Great.
Because you talked about Samaritan, where you get like watching Fly be physical. Well. You'll see some gangster Sly in this episode 5. Yeah.
Well, that's what I've been waiting for. It's
coming. The heat is on.
Good, because that's why it's very ironic. On his daughter's podcast, he said that he wanted to be a comedian, and that is just the funniest thing ever. Because I don't want to see him talking; I want to see him killing. So that's why I like Rambo as his best character. But he says that Rambo is nothing like him as a person. Right. So.
We talked about you've watched this recently, but do you remember the first time you saw Rambo 3 in particular, since we're starting the Rambo 3 coverage? Do you remember when you first saw this film?
I can't remember if my dad had Rambo 3 on VHS, but
I'm sure he did.
He probably did, actually. The first time I actually sat down and watched it was last year in September.
Okay.
Very recent. I kind of went through kind of a bit of an obsessive phase where I was like, like I said, watching all his movies, and the ones that I liked, I was watching over and over, whether I had them on in the background or I did watch Rambo 3 quite a bit, Rambo 2. Rambo 4 is my favorite Rambo because he wrote and directed it, and watching him work is impressive. He's just impressive. He's just a very impressive person.
That your fandom lies a little bit on what he does even behind the camera. That makes you like something a little bit more.
A lot more, because the settings of his films, they're very uncomfortable. In Rambo 3, he's in Israel and the Dead Sea, and it's very hot. He said that the temperatures got above 100, but he's still very focused, still writing, and because he, co-wrote it, and he's just a very focused, disciplined person, no matter where he films. So he's pretty impressive.
All right. Well, I haven't mentioned this on the podcast, so for my listeners, the first, maybe I have, but the first time I saw Rambo 3, it actually was in the theaters. Remember, I'm older, right?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw Rambo, First Blood, and then, of course, Rambo First Blood Part 2. I saw those both on VHS, like your dad, and watched them multiple times. But when Rambo 3 rolled around the theaters, it was released 1988. That's right. So I was just shy of turning 13 at the time.
Oh, so cool.
So my mother, bless her heart, she took myself, my 10-year-old brother. It's just so funny. Hey, it's okay, Mom. I've shown my 10-year-old son and I have 5 sons. So.
Whoa, you are fecund.
Yeah, and 5 sons and 1 daughter, actually. In fact, the oldest is 24, and then the youngest are 8-year-old twins. So I'm.
Wow. Whoa. That's excellent. You're definitely spreading your genes. That's good. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. There's more of me running around, more genetic Reiner Balkans running around. No, they're good kids. I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed, as they say. So I'm very lucky. So anyway, I've shown all of them the Rambo films. Not Rambo 4. Now, I showed my 10-year-old and the 8-year-old twins.
Rambo 4 is...
Well, it's just funny to think these films are so tame compared to some... In many ways. There's violence, but not the way...
It doesn't really get kind of insane until Rambo 4. And then Rambo 5 is really brutal. He's very violent. And it's excellent. It's excellent.
So my mom took myself, my brother, and my other brother who's 2 years older. So the 3 of us went. Thank you so much, Mom, because it's a great memory of my life. So I want to let you know, don't feel bad. We all turned out okay. And I didn't go around killing anybody and anything like that. Like, as far as anyone knows, right? Yeah.
So funny.
I loved it. Great memory. There was one scene when we get, not today, of course, but later the film with another co-host, but there's a scene, of course, when that Russian soldier gets thrown down the hole and the grenade gets pulled on him, so you know he's going to blow up. Yep. I'll never forget my mom. She covered my 8-year-old brother at the time. She covered his eyes just before the blow. I'll never forget. Because she knew that it was coming. Funny. I kind of just chuckled because I remember feeling like I got to watch it, and I was so proud of myself.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways. All right. So, let's get rolling into the credits. What we'll do is we'll watch some scenes. We'll pause it. and talk what we just saw, like a commentary of what we saw, felt, or anything that made us laugh or think it's cool or whatever it might be. And then we'll just do for about 20 minutes to half an hour of recording time to see where we go. That's a natural ending. And that'll be episode 1 of season 3. Okay. Love that musical cue that we hear.
That's well done.
I forget the name of the instrument. Somebody in one of my earlier episodes told me the name of the instrument. It's like this kind of like bow-like instrument that's kind of twang that makes that dong sound.
Yes. I can't remember the name of it either.
Already a very different opening to a Rambo film. You got the representation of that Rambo theme coming in, yes, mixed with this scene is in Thailand, so you get this Asian flair instruments going as well. So you got this mixture of that American theme mixed with now the I would say foreign theme or of music, and you see cut shots of, yes, we can tell Rambo's putting on some sort of bamboo gloves.
He's preparing to fight.
He's preparing to fight, but if you, of course, we know it's coming. But as a first-time viewer, I don't remember what I thought. But so, what's he getting ready for? You know, like why is he kind of, Troutman, of course, coming with a government official, played by Kurtwood Smith. You recognize him from? Did you ever watch the '70s show? Or
yeah, and he was also an Oscar with him as well.
Was he an Oscar? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, I need to get you back on.
He's playing the cop.
I forgot about it. I haven't seen that movie in a while. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I saw it when it came out, and that may have been the last time, if that makes sense.
I didn't even know about it until last year.
I'm sorry.
And that's one of my favorite of his films.
What? You like
I liked it.
Oh.
Yeah. It's funny. He's got some versatility.
He does. You know, Cy does. He does. I just maybe, like I said, I haven't seen it in a long time, so it will be reinvestigated. We will be reviewing it. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
All right, so we got of course Colonel Troutman. We know he's come to talk to Rambo. You know, there's no cell coverage here, right? You know, he's come.
No.
He's come to talk to Rambo about something face to face. So here we go.
You know him?
So they're showing pictures. Do you know him? Do you know this guy? Where is he? I love how they got close enough, like. They're showing pictures of Rambo to the locals in the area. Do you know him? Do you know him? They were able to land within the location of where Rambo is, but it's just kind of silly. They knew enough to go there, wherever the here is, and then,
right.
But just, I'm sure you'll find him. He's the one white guy that's jacked.
Yeah, he's pretty jacked, yeah.
Hey, is there a white hulking figure walking around amongst you 4 foot tall
like
people?
long brown hair.
Yeah, exactly. Wears a bandana, mumbles, lots of scars on his back and chest. No, I've never seen him. I don't know. Sounds like all the other locals around here. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
That's funny.
We're getting more body exposure of Sly/Rambo.
It's just so beautiful. It's so he's just a beautiful person. Every time I watch him as Rambo, I'm straight.
Okay. And I'm gay, so we're good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got that ponytail. I love the ponytail. He had his hair in the ponytail.
Oh, it looks great.
And he takes out his beads.
He looks amazing.
Beads, and does a little bit of a shake of his. You see the little shake of his hair there to get the curls like a Vidal Sassoon commercial. He's ready to.
I have never seen a man in a ponytail look good ever.
Yeah, he pulls it off. Yeah, he pulls it off.
He does.
He pulls off the mullet. You know, nobody else pulls off that mullet like he does.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I laugh because for people watching this on YouTube, for those on iTunes, Rambo's now put his get up on. He's got the headband on. He squeezes it tight, and he does that whip around his shoulder. I almost want to put like audio underneath, like Vidal Sassoon You know what I mean?
Maybe he's born with it.
Yeah, put this shampoo commercial sequence here, like who does your hair, Rambo? I love it.
God, he doesn't even look the same. In his interviews, he just doesn't even look the same. It's really interesting.
He's probably, how old is he here? This is 88. It's
42.
30, so he's 42 here. Yeah, it's peak Sly age. His 40s was good. He's a good-looking 76-year-old. Don't get me wrong. I hope I look half as good as he does.
Good-looking 76. That man is beautiful. He is just unreal.
How did you feel about that girl getting all mad at, like, almost barfing when she had sex with him in Tulsa King when she ran out? Remember that sequence? It was like the first episode, I think, when that police agent...
It was when she found out he was older.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I can't believe it.
And then she came back for more, so she thought that he was, like, in his 50s, and then found out he was 75. He definitely doesn't look like he's in his 50s.
Yeah. No, he looks good.
He looks very different. Looks great.
So he's soldiering up. He's focused. What's he going to do? Everyone wonders. Where's he going towards? At the end of the second Rambo film, if you recall, he left Trout with no shirt on. It looks like he still hasn't found one yet.
He has not. He's just running around with no shirt on. He's like, no one does that anymore. I think maybe Jason Statham was the last person to do an action movie with no shirt on.
He walks away with no shirt on.
I remember.
And now we cut to Rambo 3 and still
no shirt on.
Still hasn't found a shirt. I hope he finds one. Maybe that will be the journey of this film with the first scene.
No, I hope he doesn't find one.
Well, I think he does. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert.
Well, it's like a tank top, so.
That's right. So now we're getting an idea. Wait, there's people waving money around, cheering. Oh. A fight, you say?
Stick fight.
I know this is a lot of visual here, so I apologize to our listeners, but we all know the scene where Rambo grabs his sticks and he bends down and he does a smash with the ground with the sticks, so kind of like a ceremonial hit of the ground, and he just flexes.
He said that he wrote Rambo doing this because he wanted him to pretty much, it's like a type of self-flagellation for all the killing he's done, and he feels a lot of guilt. So this is a way of punishing himself by doing stick fighting. And he looks great. His body has really kind of evolved very interestingly over the past 46 years.
Right.
Because even in Rambo, the second one, he said he wanted to be kind of more lean and lithe. And then in Rocky, he bulked up a bit, and then he kind of maintained that bulk, but became, I guess, a little more like a bodybuilder in this one.
He is thicker, much thicker. Like, and I mean that, like the actual physical size. What do they mean by thick, anyways? What is that? Is it ICC? What is that?
THICC, like maybe Cardi B, who I keep mentioning.
Is that what that means?
As an example. Yeah, Kim Kardashian, a girl who's very curvy.
Oh, so it's literally just
small waistline.
But why the CC?
I don't know.
I thought it was like abbreviation or acronym for something. Okay, it's just a silly way to spell,
I think it's just.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age and.
Well, I'm showing mine because I don't know anything about why they would do something like that in that rap culture. I don't listen to a lot of rap music.
No?
I really don't listen to a lot of music. I mostly listen, if I do listen to music, it's like chill hop, very soothing, kind of like cafe, I guess, music. It's like a cross between jazz and like a soft hip hop. But yeah, Sly's
so he's thick
body.
Thick. Yeah, like it actually bulked. That's the word. He's like legit. His chest looks thicker, and his shoulders for sure. Yeah, and he wanted to showcase that right away. He's like, "Look what I did, guys! Look how I beefed up."
Yeah.
It showcases right away.
He works hard. He does 2 a days with an insane amount of effort. He still does. For Rambo 4, I know that's how he bulked up for that.
Yeah.
And Rambo 5, which he was 72 when he did Rambo 5 or 70?
Ago. Yeah, 72,
3 years ago, yeah. So 73. Yeah, 70. Yeah.
Insane.
He's dedicated.
So of course you got a lot of people throwing the money around, making bets on this. This is an organized legal fight, I guess, in Thailand, as much as legality can be. And
I was gonna say.
we're just going to see how this plays out. It's kind of interesting. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit while it's playing. So we can comment on it as it's playing. So it's interesting to watch Rambo, basically use a weapon and fighting techniques that we haven't seen the Rambo character ever do.
Right. He seems pretty adept at using the stick because he twirls it and he's comfortable. He tends to learn a lot of interesting skills in creating his films. He had to learn how to use a bow and arrow and learn how to hold a knife and all of those things he was saying. He had to learn survival skills. He's versatile. He's very smart.
It's interesting because we've commented before on previous podcasts that I've done of Sly himself he always kind of leans into his punching type moves. Like no matter what action film is, he's like, oh, punching. But it's too bad he didn't do this more because this fighting sequence in general with the kicks, the stick work, it's too bad Sly didn't investigate doing this more in films. Maybe you've seen back in the day like Sly doing a sword film like Arnold did, it would have been interesting. I think it's a miss. Well, I mean, it's too late now, but we're seeing the sequence here. Well, maybe not, yeah. But what's great here is Sly's it's all choreographed, of course, but it's great seeing him using this double stick stuff. It's fun to watch that it's not just punching. He's using a weapon other than just his fists, so to speak. So it's fun to watch.
I think he kicks more in this movie than I've ever seen him kick in any movie. Ironically, it's very funny. The movie he did with De Niro, Grudge Match. Right. When they were boxing, when he was doing that interview with the MMA fighter, I can't remember his name, but he said, kicking is for girls, and it was funny.
You can't say that, Sly. How dare you? It's too bad because he showcases great fight skills and sequences, and during this big fight, of course, Troutman now has shown up. He's won the match. This is kind of a fun little sequence because he's won the match. He's beaten his opponent. Great. And he has this guy at his mercy. We're led to believe that there has been times in these fights, I don't think Rambo's ever done it, where if you win the fight and have the guy at your mercy, maybe you can take a killing shot, so to speak. It seems like he can do like a killing type blow. Yeah. Because Rambo's always been part animal. He's kind of animalistic,
Yes, he is.
So he's fighting that right now. You can see right now he seems to be fighting a bit of that animal. Like he's like
the urge to kill. He's a killer, and it's excellent. I mean, it's the best thing about Rambo is his ability to do what most men can't.
And what Troutman said, he has one mission, kill. That's his thing, like when he's in this mode. Yeah. You know that he's in Thailand, and my understanding is Buddhism is big in Thailand, right? Buddhism is the religion?
Yeah, it is. And this is kind of goes into Rambo 4. I always found it very interesting that he turned Rambo into a Christian character. Well, he turned Rambo into a Christian character, even though Rambo was living in a monastery and getting, capturing food for the Buddhists. He kind of drove him out of that character, implying that he wasn't living for anything, even living that peaceful, kind lifestyle, which I thought it was weird that he would do that. But it's a parallel to his Christianity in real life, which was so funny to me.
He's got the enemy at the mercy kill, and he's fighting the rage to kill him. And Troutman's there now watching this, and Troutman's just as curious. Will Rambo kill this guy? I haven't seen him in a few years. What has he turned into living here? What will happen? Troutman's just as curious as the audience. Will Rambo kill this man? Defenseless. Here we go. Let's find out. And of course, the man on the ground is scared. The crowd's cheering. I love how the crowd's all bloodthirsty. Everyone in the audience wants to see blood. Yeah. Beat his head in. Yeah. I've got money on this that you'll beat his head in.
All right.
But boy, this is a little bit longer sequence that I remember. Okay, now he's calming down. He's counting to Zen. He's calming down.
That he learned from the monks.
That's right. Yeah. Now he offers his hand, a stick in friendship. There you go. Up he goes. And he does a little curtsy. Thank you for not killing me. And then Rambo takes the money, takes the win.
And gives it to the monks.
I thought he would go to the store and buy a shirt. He can finally afford one. So I love the crowd's all chanting Rambo. Let's listen to this. The crowd is chanting Rambo. Let's hear that.
They are? Oh, I never discerned that before.
Very, very.
So they know him. Okay.
Yeah, I love how they call him Rambo, not John. John.
John isn't as badass as Rambo.
No, it's not. Like when he introduced himself to the community, oh, yeah, you just call me You can call me Rambo. It's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not called John. It's not called John 3.
It was director's cut of the fourth one was John Rambo.
It's weird that they didn't, because it would have mirrored his Rocky Balboa, because in 2006 he does Rocky Balboa. That was the name of the film. The name of the character. And so when I heard they were doing the fourth Rambo film, at the time they were calling it John Rambo.
Ah, very cool.
So I thought, oh, that's awesome. It's Stallone's acknowledgement of he's doing his last Rocky film. It's Rocky Balboa.
Supposedly last Rambo.
And at the time, and he wrote and directed both. So I thought that was his nod to the character. Like, I'm going to call this John Rambo. They just went with Rambo. I guess makes sense because all these titled films don't make sense.
No, I mean, I know that he did the director's cut. It does say John Rambo in the opening credits, but it really is just Rambo.
I guess the U.S. theatrical release was Rambo, yeah.
Yeah, the director's cut I feel is better because he shows more of his character as a kinder, because he's like washing this woman's feet and...
I don't know if I have it. I'm going to have to maybe use that for my season 4. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really good.
So now Troutman, this other government agent, are going to go talk to Rambo. Troutman's calling him out. John, can you hear me, John? I think John does hear him. He gives all the money to the monastery people, of course. And off John goes on the boat.
And he puts on a shirt.
Oh, there you go. With a blanket or something. Is that a blanket or a jacket? Or is that a shirt?
Looks like a shirt. No, I don't think he puts his hands through the sleeves or his arms through the sleeves.
No, it's on top of him like a shoulder, see? Yeah.
Rambo's very personable and very empathetic towards women and children.
Oh, yeah. There's a little boy in the back of the boat, and he kind of slaps his knee in a friendly, knowing way. Like, hey, kid.
That's more of Stallone's personality.
He can't help but have his personality.
It does shine through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. A lot less so in Rambo 4. He is not there for it in Rambo 4 at all.
Maybe he's just in an angry place at the time.
He was not in a healthy place in Rambo 4 at all.
So now Troutman's made his way to the village where Rambo is.
หลวงพ่อทราบไหมครับว่าคนที่ชื่อแรมโบ้อยู่ที่ไหนครับทำงานทางโน้น
There we go. So Rambo's up there working on, I guess, brass? Is that like kind of brass stuff, or?
Looks like it.
Working on the temple or the building or whatever, the village. Or Troutman does this. Tries to recruit. John Rambo. Hey, it's me, remember? So Rambo actually smiles. He says, I don't believe this. So he actually is pretty happy to see Troutman.
I think that's the only family, quote unquote, that he has.
Yeah.
So where'd you come in from?
Washington. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
You want to tell me about it?
About what?
About how yesterday I see you stick fighting in a warehouse in Bangkok.
You saw that?
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't know he was there.
And today I find you working in a monastery.
They let me live here and I help out fixing things.
And the stick fighting?
I just do that for a little extra money.
Yeah, I saw you give it to the monks.
I love how Rambo is such a... it's so funny how... I just love he's like a Christ figure in some ways. He
is a Christ figure.
Yeah, he's building the temple. He's a man of... But I can argue that his life has been nothing but violence and nothing... It's all he knows. That's why he still does the stick fighting. But even he's using his own personal violence and pain. He's taught to ignore pain. To eat things that makes a billy goat puke. This stick fighting is really nothing to him. This kind of torture he's been through, getting hit with the stick a couple times, whatever.
That's his own self-injurious behavior.
Yeah, you talked about that. That's interesting. Yeah, you mentioned that. So that I never looked at it that way. That damage he receives from the sticks is his way of self-flagellation. Is that what you said?
Self-flagellation. Yeah.
Flagellation. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a sex act. I'll never do that again.
It can be. It can be.
I guess if that's your thing, yeah, you're right. Some people do enjoy pain. That's true. I mean, nothing.
That's true.
I'm not gonna kink shame anybody, but yeah, some people do like. Some people do like to have their hands stepped on by high heels, but that's okay. I don't get it. I don't know what point you get to that in your life where you know what this is. This isn't enough. I think I like to put these things in a vice clamp and clamp down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh well, each to their own.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, that sounds painful. No.
All right. So Troutman is saying, "Yeah, I saw you give the money to the monks."
You see a lot. Colonel, who are they?
They're partly the reason I'm here. Bob? This is Robert Griggs. He's a field officer with our local embassy. John Rambo.
Pleasure. Well, you're certainly not easy to find.
Why are you keeping track?
Well, like the Colonel says, good men are hard to find. John, I'd like you to take a look at some of these photos. I don't know how much you know about Afghanistan. Most people can't even find it on a map. But over 2 million civilians.
I always found that interesting.
What's that?
The nuance in his facial expression. He's very empathetic. Very empathetic. Like, looking at those pictures caused him pain.
Yep.
He doesn't like that. So even though he's violent or has been raised to kill, like, he hasn't hardened him to the point where he can see pictures like that and not respond in a human way.
You could already tell he's torn. Because the moment he was talking very friendly and happy to Troutman, of course, that's his father figure. And then, of course, he asks, well, who are these guys that are with you? And, of course, he says, well, they're partly the reason why I'm here. And the moment this guy from the embassy started talking, his demeanor, talking about his face changed. Like, why are you keeping track? Am I hard to find? But why do you care? And he already is. So now he's kind of torn because he's like, he doesn't trust the government at all. We know that his trust for the U.S. government is zero. Like, he's been screwed over by them as a soldier, as a civilian.
Sure.
So now he's being called to action again. He knows what's coming, but like you said, he's seen the pictures. Now he's about to hear the pitch, and he's going to be torn here.
Families have been systematically slaughtered by invading Russian armies.
Those dirty Russians.
Every new woman,
Still to this day.
See, now he just walked away. He was in the middle of his
including
pitch.
chemical warfare, has been used to eliminate these people. And they've been very successful on many levels. I assume that you're out of touch with the current status of the war. But after 9 years of fighting, the Afghan forces are now getting shipments of Stinger missiles and are beginning to hold their own against airstrikes. Except for one region, 50 miles over the border. Apparently, the Soviet commander there is exceptionally brutal, as those photos indicate. And he's managed to strangle off all aid from the outside. So, we want to investigate the problem firsthand.
What's that got to do with me?
They've asked me to go in.
You're not gonna do it.
Yes. And I want you to come with me, John.
I put in my time.
What's that mean?
There's the pitch. It's kind of a a curveball even to the audience. So we thought they're just going to recruit John Rambo, but Troutman's now saying, I'm going in, I'm leading this mission. I'm in charge, but obviously I would love to have you come with me. He knows that he's going to be tugging at Rambo's heartstrings a little bit here, because now Rambo's like, no, you don't have to do this. Why are you going in there? Because he also recognizes that Troutman, look, he's not a spring chicken anymore.
He's protective of him.
Yeah. And he goes, well, I put my time in. That's understandable.
Yeah.
It means my war's over.
I thought you said he was this great soldier. Well, Colonel, looks like we got a long walk down those stairs.
Okay.
Wow.
So there you go. That's the introduction to Rambo 3. It starts off with a nice little action beat, as they say, with the stick fighting. I think that's a great way to, I'd say throw off the audience, but I think everyone that saw this film for the first time were kind of thrown off. This is a different Rambo film. The ones
Yeah, it started with him in very calm settings. Well, no, that's not true. The second one, he was in a labor camp or a prison camp. But the first one, he just, was walking through this picturesque environment. And it's so interesting how his demeanor he was so gregarious and playful. Yeah. And then he finds out his friend died. And from that moment on, he never, ever was that person again.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's really interesting how he was not happy, but a happier person.
He smiled at the very beginning here, like with seeing Troutman. So you could argue at this point, you're right, beginning of First Blood,
slightly.
He smiled when he saw the kids playing. And then, of course, like I said, ever since Dalmar was dead, he's never looked back. But now he did a knowing smile.
He was mistreated.
to Troutman because it's his family coming to visit, so to speak, out of the blue. Yeah, he doesn't smile very much. I don't think he smiles again for a while.
Till Rambo 5 when he's interacting with his niece.
Family, yeah.
And then after that...
Spoiler alert, we don't want to talk about his niece. Yeah, oh boy.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Every time I see a woman in a Rambo film, I just immediately... I'm like, that person's going to get fucked up. How? I don't know. But they're going to get fucked up. They don't... Women in Rambo's life don't fare well.
What did you think of Ko?
Oh, she's beautiful. Yeah, even to this day, she's she aged very well. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'd love to get her on the show, maybe. Try to reach out to her. But I'm nobody.
You should get Stallone on. He does interviews.
No, not really. Not the ham and eggers like me, he doesn't. But,
I've seen him on some... like smaller shows.
I've seen him on some crappy shows there, Ryan. He should probably do yours too. You know?
Not crappy, no. Just not as...
That's my self-flagellation going, or whatever you want to call it.
There you go.
Well, this is the end of the episode, Nikki. We'll stop here. I think it's a natural place to stop. I mean, I could keep watching it with you. You're an absolute delight and joy to have on.
Oh, yeah. That went by so fast. I'd love to come on again.
Well,
I love talking about Rambo.
Well, I do have rotating guest hosts, and we'll put you on that list then if you'd like to come back and visit. It might be Rambo 3, or you might be on Rambo 4, depending on how many episodes go through. Because I have this list that it kind of... When I first started this podcast, I didn't think I was going to have very many co-hosts that would want to come on, so the list keeps kind of getting bigger, which is good, but it means people don't get on as much as they thought they were. So I just want to make that clear that you'll get on again, but you've been an absolute breath of fresh air to me as a podcaster.
Awesome, thank you.
To the Rambo podcast. I love your perspective because it's just nice to hear different voices, other like middle-aged guys like me talking about these films. It's nice to have a nice young and a different perspective. And
36 is young. That's great.
Well, it's younger than 47. Oh, look, you look 25. There you go. So there you go.
Oh, thank you. That's so flattering.
So we both look younger than we are. Isn't that great? Boy.
Yeah, you look really young. When you said your age, I was like, what? No way.
Well, like gray hair. Yeah. I don't know. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. So before we go, just let people know where they can find you. I believe your YouTube exclusive show, is that it? Or
yes, right now I'm YouTube exclusive. It's very rough around the edges. I don't have like a good solid intro, and I keep forgetting to ask people to follow and like and subscribe.
Oh, people should be able to figure that out.
Remember that.
I subscribed without you telling me how to do it. I mean, come on, people. Do you really need us to tell you how to do it? People know how to do it.
Good. I can be found at Beat the Colt on YouTube, Twitter. I don't use my Instagram or TikTok, but you can find me there as well. I will be starting a Patreon here in the next month or so. I do have a store that I'll be starting as well, so when that gets up and running, I'll let everyone know. Okay. But that's where you can find me.
Nikki, it was an absolute pleasure having you on. I hope to have you on again, but unfortunately, the episode is over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.